In Alien, when Ripley finally discovers the truth behind Special Order 937, she confronts Ash, who is revealed to be an android who's been protecting the alien all along. There is a brief struggle. Ripley is visibly emotionally shocked by the revelation, and as she leaves the captain's quarters calling to Lambert and Parker on the intercom, we see that her nose is bleeding. This makes for an eerie moment in a scene that increasingly escalates as Ash attempts to kill Ripley, ultimately having his head knocked off by Parker and being electrocuted with a cattle prod by Lambert. The moment, however, may lead some to wonder how or why exactly Ripley's nose began to bleed in the first place. When Ripley is accessing the mother computer files, she believes she's alone, so when it's revealed that Ash has been looming behind her for who knows how long, it comes as quite a shock to Ripley. Her first reaction is to grab Ash pretty violently, after he tells her there's a good explanation for everything. It's possible in this brief altercation Ripley somehow hit her nose and that's what caused the bleeding. Another belief is that just due to the stress and shock of the situation, Ripley had a nosebleed, and it may just be something she's prone to do. Other moments in the sequels may actually support that theory. There have even been some rumors that Sigourney Weaver's nose just actually started bleeding while filming, but they decided to film the scene with it, but there's no validity to those stories. The simplest and probably most generally accepted reasoning, though, is that Ripley's nose is bleeding because of events that occurred in a previous scene that actually ended up being taken out of the final film. As talked about previously on the channel, there is a pretty infamous deleted, incomplete scene where the Nostromo's crew almost captures the alien in the airlock. Instead, it loses a limb and spills acid blood, ripping a hole through the doors and causing depressurization that nearly kills Ripley and causes her nose to profusely bleed. Chronologically, Ripley's discovery of Special Order 937 takes place after that scene, so she is more than likely still suffering the effects of the events that never actually wound up in the movie. Regardless of the reasoning behind what caused Ripley's nosebleed, it makes the standoff scene between Ripley and Ash all the more memorable. Thematically, it works nicely. Both of them have revealed themselves via bodily fluid, Ripley with her nosebleed and Ash with his unmistakably white android fluid, which Ridley Scott is said to be perspiration in this scene, not blood. It's an interesting visual cutting back between the two. In a symbolic way, Ripley is revealing her humanity and empathy, while Ash is revealing his cold, emotionless nature of being an android. While maybe the purpose of Ripley's nosebleed was originally intended differently, and its continuity was easier to explain that way, its mysterious appearance is what gives Alien yet another eerie detail that heightens the film. Ripley's nosebleeds would go on to become a recurring moment throughout all 4 movies, often taking place at significant moments. After her intense, exhaustive battle with the Queen, and finally blowing the bitch out into space, and keeping Newt safe, we see that the fight, or possibly even the opening of the airlock, has given her a nosebleed. In Alien 3, during the funeral for Hicks and Newt on Fury 161, Ripley once again sees that her nose bleeds. In a curious juxtaposition, the nosebleed seems to start right at the exact moment that the alien bursts out of its new animal host, suggesting some morbid connection or pure coincidence. Finally, the running theme of the bleeding nose plays importance in Alien Resurrection as well. After being hit in the face with a dumbbell, Ripley's clone begins to bleed from her nose, wiping it off with drops spilling to the floor. It's in this moment that we first realize Ripley 8 is so fused with the alien that she herself has acid blood, seeing it burn through the floor. This trait would prove important later in the film where Ripley is able to escape her cell, and also at the very end when she uses the acid blood to tear a hole in the Betty that kills the newborn hybrid alien. With the exception of the 4th, all these instances of nosebleeds are occurring during highly emotional and ominous moments for the character. When she first finds out about Special Order 937, it's the first time we see Ripley really lose her usual cool, assertive demeanor. In fact, even crying at the thought of the company actively working against her crew's survival. In Alien 3, she's saying goodbye to those she worked so hard to save, specifically the heartbreak of losing Newt and watching helplessly as their bodies are thrown into hot lead. Unbeknownst to her at the time, during this funeral, a new threat is looming over her as the new alien is born at the same moment. A sign of further bloodshed to come, including her own. In Aliens, however, it accompanies a triumphant moment right at the very end. Ripley has gone through hell, pushed herself to her psychological and physical limits in defeating the Queen, and takes a brief moment to collect herself before embracing Newt and knowing the day has been saved. The meanings of and significance behind the recurring nosebleeds can definitely be interpreted in their own way, and could carry their own meanings varying on the film. Or they could just be a coincidence at the end of it all, more of a visual signature or in-joke spanning across a series. Do you take any kind of special meanings out of Ripley's nosebleeds seen in the films? Do you think if Sigourney Weaver returns to the role of Ripley in a 5th film, should they continue the trend and include that as a detail? Comment below and let me know what you think. And as always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and you can also subscribe for all the latest videos from the channel. A very, very special thanks goes out to WEYLAND executives, EmYarUk, and Lady Anne, part of the Patreon Hive. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon page for exclusive posts and contests. In the meantime, you can catch up with Alien Theory over social media. Follow @alien_theory on Twitter and @alientheoryyt on Facebook and Instagram for more. And until next time, this is Alien Theory, signing off.